All right, welcome everyone. Richie Ratzak, the Assistant Managing Editor at the Record Journal, back again with another candidate forum. Now we're moving on to the Meriden Mayoral candidates. Today I'm joined by incumbent Kevin Scarpati, the challenger, Republican challenger Elaine Curiotti, and independent challenger Ernestine Holloway. Thanks everyone for joining us. The format tonight will be similar to the other candidate forums that we've held. Each candidate will get a 1 minute opening statement. Then we'll ask a series of questions and all candidates will get 1 minute to respond. And we'll alternate who answers questions first. Some questions came from the newsroom and some came from our Voices Initiative, where we asked voters what they want the candidates to be talking about as they compete for their votes. You can submit questions for upcoming candidate forums by going to myrecordjournal.com. And for those that are watching live on Facebook, I'll also be keeping an eye on the comments. So if you have a question for the candidate, leave it in the comments section and we'll try to get them in as time allows. So thanks for everyone tuning in, and thanks for the candidates for joining us. And I will turn it over to Kevin to start the opening statement.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you first and foremost to the Record Journal for getting us together and making sure that our voices were heard and that our residents were also able to participate. Thank you to the residents who are joining us this evening and those who will be watching this later on as well. My name is Kevin Scarpati. I've had the honor and privilege to be your mayor now for 3 terms, first elected in 2015. Prior to that, I've also had the honor to serve as an elected member to the Meriden Board of Education, as well as the Meriden City Council. I'm a lifelong resident here in our city, growing up throughout and being always very active, engaged, and involved, just as I am as your mayor. You have someone who is not only willing to listen, but also act when the time calls for. I proudly reside here on the west side of Meriden with my new fiance, as we are recently engaged, Shelby. So thank you all very much.
All right, and then we'll go over to Elaine.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank the Record Journal for hosting this event, and most importantly, the many residents of Meriden who are watching and providing some questions. I am Elaine Curiotti. I'm a lifelong resident of Meriden. I have 2 wonderful children, and I am a small business owner in the city of Meriden. I've been active in the community for over 15 years, such as Civitan Club, Daffodil Festival Board, and many others. I am a current member of the Planning Commission. I am running for mayor because I and many others feel the city has lost their way in currently promoting dangerous initiatives such as a CRB. We support strong public safety and bring accountability, transparency, and common sense and bipartisan to City Hall. We believe Meriden deserves better, which is why we are asking for your support on November 2nd. It's time for a fresh face, a fresh start. Thank you, and I look forward to answering your questions.
And then over to Ernestine.
Hello, everybody. I want to say thank you for taking your time, listen to us, debate on what we think that our city deserves. Surely you know that I'm the pastor of Serenity House Ministries. I also run a feeding program, a backpack ice cream program, ACE Plus program. I'm a domestic violence advocate. I'm a rape advocate. I'm a senior advocate and a children's advocate. I'm also on the Board of Disabilities. I was on the Board of Human Services, and I'm here to bring a better city. Meriden was great in the past, and I'm looking forward to bringing that back. I'm also want to do special projects to work with the veterans to get them off the street. We owe them and our seniors. So let's work together to make Meriden great again.
Right, and then we'll bring in Record Journal reporter Mike Gagney to get started with the questions. Then the first question would go to Elaine.
Elaine, thank you again for agreeing to participate. Our first question is going to center a little bit on economic development. And so we're looking at the closure of Best Buy at the Meriden Mall later this month. And it is a sign that my my apologies. I don't know why my question got deleted, but so it is a sign that there's a shifting in economic strategy, and that brick and mortar stores are no longer as economically viable as they previously had been. And same thing with Best Buy leaving. Yeah, the other recent retail establishments at the mall leaves. So, in your view, what is the best way to ensure that an entity like the Meriden Mall, which is the second largest taxpayer in the city of Meriden, remains viable for the foreseeable future?
Well, I think with economic growth, it's something that has to be cultivated. We have to bring in stores and we have to stay connected with them. We have to go and visit, see how they're doing, how they feel the city can help them and continue to have them stay here. I think what happens sometimes is the city is late to the game on when they've already decided to leave. I think if you have interaction with the businesses that are here and you go and visit them and you see them and you speak with them, which is what a mayor should do, and have interaction, you'll maybe be able to stop them from leaving the city. It's very important to have communication with businesses. So I think that's one of the things that needs to be taken care of in this town.
All right, and then over to Ernestine.
Well, here's what needs to happen. We can encourage entrepreneurship among the young people and the older people, that the mom and pop shops. What I've learned was they're the ones that actually carry the city. When I visit New York City and I visit all the towns that are around us, what I found is that they were in business for a long time. So economic development, along with the mayor and other city officials, we need to create a plan where the first year you're in business, we come see you often. The third year, it gets lesser, but we still give you that mentorship to encourage you that you can go on. So the problem is that we've been leaving them all alone, and we need to become a business-friendly city. We need to clean up the crime. We need to clean up the ones that are drinking in front of stores to make people want to come here. So I figure if we all work together, teamworks make a dream work. So if we work together with the police department, economic development, and visiting businesses, they'll come.
And then over to Kevin.
Thank you. Yeah. So to go back to the fact on the Meriden Mall, I'm pleased to say that as Elaine had stated, I reach out and I'm on a monthly call with the general manager, Chris Powers, at the Meriden Mall, with management and ownership of the mall, Namdar, as well as our economic development and city manager. We sit on a monthly call the first week of every month to discuss what the priorities are, the missions are, and the forward thinking is for the Meriden Mall. Now, obviously, the Record Journal has reported a huge investment is coming our way, with the old Macy's box being taken over by Yale New Haven Health, 180,000 square feet being turned into a medical hub right in our mall. We have a dinner theater coming into the mall as well that's planning to open very soon. You're correct. A mall cannot survive on a retail-only landscape. It needs to be a destination of culmination of entertainment and dining. It needs to be an experience that's going to drive traffic to our mall, and I think we are doing that.
Sorry, there's some people on Facebook were saying we're having some issues with the video, so I'm going to just record as a backup just in case something goes awry, and we can post the video later. Mike, then you want to go into the next question, which would start off with Ernestine.
Okay, Ernestine, we're going to continue topic of economic development, and you had actually alluded to this in your response. In terms of growing Meriden's tax base, where should those efforts be focused? Should we be focused on repurposing and remediating former factory buildings and brownfield sites, or should we be looking at other sites, potentially undeveloped land, or should we be looking at those undeveloped lands and be looking to preserve that open space? Where would you just strike that balance?
Okay, first of all, I would work on the housing issue. I would take those factories, I would re-gut them. I would put the veterans to work, because if they're working, they're paying taxes. And if they're paying taxes, they're happy and we're happy. The town will grow. That's going to stimulate them. And after that, what I would do is the other building, I would gut it and have those same people that are veterans that are looking for jobs, put them to work to build it up. So we can create something where if you are homeless or something, we have a better facility to help you do what you need to do. And for the other building, instead of all these recovery houses that we have here, we take those factories, we gut it, we turn it into a big building that help people get up on their feet that are struggling with addiction, so that they're not all over our streets. And then we will work on crime. We will get that civilian complaint review board up and be transparent. And then we stop the crime with the cars. And then we tell businesses, okay, we've cleaned up our town, so then you can come in. And then what we do after that. I think it says stop. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and then over to Kevin.
Thank you. So economic development is a priority. It needs to be a priority for all of us in our city. I think one of the things that I have heard throughout my tenure is that the west side of Meriden has felt forgotten about. We have seen tremendous growth along the East Main Street corridor, much of that due to recent tax incentive plans that we have done on East Main Street to start. And we figured, well, let's take that approach and bring it across our city so that businesses can relocate and open on the west side. We were pleased to announce just recently that Aldi's will be coming into Chamberlain Highway, a much needed grocery retailer on the west side of town that the residents have been asking for months, ever since Stop and Shop announced their closure. It was also noted most recently in a committee meeting that the investment money coming into the city of Meriden is now up to pre-pandemic levels. Businesses are coming back, development is happening in our city, and it starts with us, the residents, needing to shop local and keep our tax dollars here in our city.
All right, and then over to Elaine.
I think we should focus on all options in Meriden. I don't think it should be focused on one single area. I think we should be able to repurpose any viable building that we have in Meriden. There's some that are not, that you can't really fix. I think if we have a new site for somewhere to come that's appropriate, I think the more the welcome. And I also think that we should be meeting with businesses, finding out what their needs are and seeing where we can bring them into Meriden so that they can come here. And Meriden has to absolutely be business friendly. It's very difficult dealing with City Hall and working with them. So I think we definitely have to become more business friendly and open our doors and go out and solicit companies. Thank you.
Richie, have any questions come in from the public that we might want to turn over to?
No, the only question so far has been about questioning the quality of the videos, but
Okay, who's next?
the next one goes to Kevin.
Okay, Kevin. So during the past 19, 20 months or so, was the COVID-19 pandemic revealed to you about the role that local government plays in responding to a public health crisis? In your view, how well has the city of Meriden, along with its elected leaders and personnel, responded to the pandemic? Has the pandemic revealed areas where access was limited or other shortcomings and needs for improvement? If so, please describe.
Thank you. And it has been quite a ride that all of us have experienced together. I think overall, the city of Meriden, we have done a tremendous job. Certainly, there were things we were learning, but everyone was learning what COVID was and how we get through it together, healthy. And I think one of the things that revealed to us is not to take things for granted, but I'd be remiss without thanking and recognizing the hard work by the health department under the direction of our director, Leah Crown, who undoubtedly saved lives and led us through these past 18 to 20 months. But I also have to thank the residents for heeding the warning and recognizing that when we issued guidance, and whether that was many times done on a daily or hourly basis when things were changing, we certainly had to get the information out to our residents responsibly. And our residents listened. We had to help businesses through small business grants, and we've done that and shoveled out close to $200,000 to stay here in our community for businesses and nonprofits.
All right, then over to Elaine.
Okay, I think local government needs to take all the measures to keep the citizens safe. It's the biggest thing that makes sure all residents have adequate access to services. Honestly, I think Meriden did do a great job. I know a lot of the state implemented a lot of things, and it was very scary for people, and they heeded the warnings, and I think everything has turned out for the better. Thank you.
Okay, and then over to Ernestine.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I think Meriden did a very poor job. I looked at the towns around us. I went out, I saw Southington, I saw Wallingford. Yes, we had an emergency, but I think the way that we handled it wrong, we lost a lot of businesses. You walk around, you see empty windows. I went to get a fish sandwich and the business wasn't there anymore. And I was like, well, what happened to them? Well, I said, what's the yellow gate in front of the business? What does that mean? So, and then we didn't take a look at all the people in Meriden. Everybody don't have cars and they take buses. I'll never forget, my daughter said she wanted a hamburger. I went to get a hamburger. You had to go through the drive-through. But guess what? You couldn't patronize those businesses because you don't have a car. So I don't think we get maybe a C. We could have done better. Other towns took what the governor said and they put their plan to it. We just follow whatever the governor said.
And this next question directed to Ernestine?
Yes.
I think so.
No, the next one goes to Elaine.
Oh, Elaine, I apologize. So Elaine, last July, we saw heavy rainfall that resulted in flooding that submerged several city blocks downtown, an area that's historically prone to flooding. In your view, have flood control measures that have led to the development of the Meriden Green and other initiatives that are included in the Harbor Brook Master Plan alleviated flooding to the point where downtown can become a thriving cultural and economic hub as envisioned? Have flood control measures to date been worth the investment in your mind?
Okay, I think it's a little premature. I think the flood control project is not finished, but I think the hardest part that I have is seeing the businesses downtown suffer every time it floods down there. I know as a business owner, you have to put in insurance claims, and once you're flooded, it's a huge problem. How can you ask people to go downtown and open up a business when they're going to get flooded? They're going to have a loss. They have to get a flood insurance policy. It's quite frankly not fair. And there is no way anybody would want to come down in their right mind. It's just not going to happen at this point until the flooding issue is 100% taken care of. Not to mention the residents that live down there and have lost cars. It's very unfair. Thank you.
All right, and then over to Ernestine.
Well, we spent millions of taxpayers' money. The mayor got on TV and said it's supposed to flood. Yes, it's supposed to flood, but it's not supposed to flood over by the train station. It's not supposed to flood near the Senior Citizen Center. It's not supposed to flood in the new area where it's at. The buses couldn't get through. People lost money. They lost cars. I seen a guy out there canoeing. I seen the fish come up. The guy was like, I can go fishing. I can catch the fish now. I don't have to go all the way over there. We were like the laughing stock. How do we spend so much money to stop something and it's still doing it? So that means that we need to either fix the problem, finish it so it won't become a problem, because that area is where the businesses will be coming. So if we want businesses to come in, we showed a poor example. Who wants to come downtown and it's flooding? How long is this going to take? How much more money is it going to take?
And then over to Kevin.
Yeah, so let's not pretend that that rain event was unique to Meriden, and that Meriden was the only municipality to flood. There were cities and towns across the state of Connecticut that had record rainfall, including our city. And without the Meriden Green and that investment of that flood control project, it would be much worse for those businesses and residents that live and work downtown. I agree that the work isn't done and that it's a challenge to be a business owner in a flood-prone area. But we recognize the need to step up and do something about it. It's not going to change overnight. It has certainly improved. And so, Mike, I think your question specifically was, has the flood control investment thus far been worth it? Absolutely, undoubtedly. I've spoken to the business owners downtown that said, hey, you know what? It receded much faster. It did not flood my business as it was, 20 years ago when it was equivalent rainfall. And so the work isn't done. Downtown still needs the investment.
Now, this correct question over to Ernestine.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Ernestine, now that recreational cannabis is legal in the state of Connecticut, Meriden and other communities are taking steps to enact local zoning regulations related to establish, cultivate, and sell those products. For example, last month, the city council approved capping the number of recreational cannabis dispensaries permitted in the city at 3. Can you please share your views on recreational marijuana now that it's legal in Connecticut and how to regulate the establishments that will sell those products? Do you agree with the local regulations that the council approved last month?
I'm going to be honest with you. I think that's the worst thing the governor has ever done. I think that people looked at it as a tax revenue, but as I have 32 years in recovery, and I've seen more addicts and children than I've ever seen. I don't think we're going to be able to control it. It's a shame that you can't walk down the street, especially down at that wonderful $3 million bridge that we built. You can't sit down there after a certain hour because the marijuana smell it overtakes you. They hang out, they get drunk, they get high down there. I don't think it's going to benefit. I think it's going to backfire, just like Colorado. But I do want to applaud the one thing that I did agree with the city council. They capped it at 3. I think that we're going to have more addiction problems, and that's going to destroy our city and homes. I don't want to get high, but I can't walk down the street without getting a contact high against the block.
All right, and then over to Kevin.
Thank you. So obviously, this is something that was passed down by the state legislature, and it actually had allowed the city of Meriden to have up to 9 of these facilities in our city, with 3 allowed per 25,000 population. And so when it came before the City Council Economic Development Committee, there was great discussion and some concern about allowing 9 of these facilities in our community. There were some that were against it entirely, some that felt comfortable with some number, and some that wanted the full 9. But recognizing that, let's not be ignorant to the fact it's going to be all around us. And Meriden should reap the benefit, some benefit of having something here to collect on revenues. I proposed that we look at the number of 3 with the ability to increase down the road if we need to, but not overburdening our society with a number that maybe we weren't comfortable with or felt would be a burden across our community. So I do support, as the one who proposed, the 3 that we have today.
All right, and then over to Elaine.
It's legal, so I think we should take the advantage of opportunity to bringing a business to Meriden. It will help build up our tax base. Remember, it's still illegal to smoke marijuana in public. But the other thing is, it's not just about people smoking and drinking. These places, they have tight security. You have to come in, you have to check IDs. The people that are coming there, they are there. There's edibles. There are all different types of things, and they're not coming just to, they may have a medical issue. There may be other situations. So I don't think we should frown upon it. I think we should try and figure out where we can go with it. I do think 3 is plenty. And I think we need to grow our another business here. So I'm for it.
So Kevin, this question is to you. In the upcoming term, one of the first actions we expect the council to be taking up is a vote that could potentially establish a civilian review board to review the police department's handling of use of force and incidents and other alleged misconduct. Would you support the formation of such a board? And please explain your view.
So as an individual who sat through every one of the use of force study committee meetings over the course of the last 6 to 8 months, I want to thank the committee for their hard work and their recommendation. However, it's not one I agree with. And I've stated this publicly that I do not believe a civilian review board is the answer. It's going to hurt morale. We do not have an issue here in our city. And if the city council feels strongly that oversight is necessary, it should be taken up at a city council level. We currently have in place a public safety committee, one of which I have talked with Deputy Mayor Michael Cardona on extensively, to allowing the public safety committee to take on a larger role in our community, albeit in some sense of oversight if necessary. However, our police department need our support, and its elected leaders, as well as our community, need to rally behind our police department now more than ever. And I do not believe a civilian review board is going to do much good for our community.
All right, and then over to Elaine.
I am absolutely 100% against the civilian review board. If the mayor doesn't agree with it, why didn't he veto it? The resolution, which was sent forth to the board, which recommended it. Chief Rosado is doing an amazing job. We have a public safety board, so there is no need for the civilian review board. The police are doing a great job. If there's a problem, they have body cams on. If anybody has a problem with it, that they can pull up the body cams. And I think city leadership is just looking to see if there's a problem when there isn't anything there. I really think we should focus on other things within the city that we need to take care of, and this is not one of them.
And over to Ernestine.
Well, I see this differently. I adore the police department. When I was coming up, that's what I wanted to be, a police officer. But I chose to be a reverend instead, which is actually a police officer in retrospect. But I want to say this. Everybody has a right to have their complaint reviewed. Everybody has a right to say, this is how I feel. And it's nice to have a second set of eyes looking over things. Unfortunately, the federal government is saying Meriden should have had one a long time ago. And I don't know how they didn't do it. If we're going to obey the law, we need to obey the whole law. Now, do I agree with what the governor did? No. I think that we should have took time. We should have went over it. We could have done a better job. Yes, we need to support our police, but unfortunately, things happen. And we need other people to say, well, you know what? Let's let somebody else take a look at it and see how it works.
Mike Ritchie, if I could just respond to a question that was posed to me directly, which was, why haven't I vetoed it? The answer is, I cannot veto something that hasn't been passed by the city council. So nothing's been passed, therefore I cannot veto anything at this time. I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Okay, and with that, sorry, Elaine, did you want to respond to
I
that?
just wanted to say, he should have vetoed the recommendation that was put forth by the committee.
May I respond to that, please?
Sure.
I think that we need to take the community, keep them in mind. They're asking for a review board. They are the taxpayers. And a fresh new set of eyes, what this will do for the police department is that somebody can say, you know what? I don't think that happened. I seen the video. Sometimes when you have the police policing the police, it doesn't work. And if the city did its job, people would not be saying they want a civilian complaint review board. It is what it is.
All right, and then with that, we are coming up on 30 minutes. So we'll head into the closing statements. So I believe in the rotation, it would be Elaine to kick off closing statements.
Okay, thank you once again. I would like to thank everyone who's joined us this evening, and I hope you found this discussion informative. I realize as a mayor position, it's primarily ceremonial, but we do have extreme important roles as the head of our respective ticket. Our job is to promote our side's agenda and beliefs. I am very proud to head the Republican slate and promote accountability, transparency, and unity. My friend on the other side praises his slate that he openly promotes Meriden's negatively as a city that is widespread race and abuse of force issues. They promote these false narratives, which absolutely does not support their claim. Their actions hinder Meriden from moving forward in any
And we got time.
Yeah, that's time. Ernestine, and you're up next.
I would like to say, as an independent party slate, I've been in both parties, Democrat and Republican. I'm not reporting that Meriden has this great racial issue. That's a lie. That's just the Republicans talking crap. What I am going to say is we need to support our city. We need to go out. We need to walk around. We need to get to know the people. We need to get police on the beat. And that's what I support, economic development that's coming to the town. I want to raise the morality of Meriden. I don't want us to be the laughing stock, as when you mention Meriden at the State Department, they all start laughing. No, I want us to be a healthy town. We do have issues with crime. Don't be sticking your head in the sand like an ostrich. It does happen here. So better our education, get more veteran housing, make Meriden affordable, but yet we want people on the tax roll. We can't give away Meriden and not increase in business.
All right, Kevin, then you're up next.
Thank you. Again, thanks to all who joined us here this evening and to my other candidates as well for the discussion. You know, I'm the only candidate running that's unaffiliated, which means I don't belong to a party, whether that's the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, or even the Independent Party. I'm proud to say that every decision that I make in this office is in the best interest of our residents. And I have done that for the past 6 years, and I hope to continue for the next 2. You know, I'm also proud and honored to have gotten the Meriden Federation of Teachers endorsement. It's one subject that didn't come up tonight, unfortunately, but I am extremely proud of the Meriden public school system and the work that our administrators and teachers have done over the course of the last year and a half and beyond, but most importantly, to keep our students safe and learning in a classroom, as important as that is. I'm humbled and honored again for this privilege to be sitting here in the mayor's office, and hope for your vote and trust for another 2 years in this office. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Kevin, and thanks to all of the candidates for joining tonight. It's great to see. We've had a lot of back and forth on the Facebook crowd, but it's good to have that kind of engagement with the readers and with voters. So everyone watching, we will be back shortly with the City Council at-large candidates at 7. So thanks again to all the candidates, and thanks for everyone for watching.
Thank you very much, everybody.